We are New Reality Awakening. Hey there, welcome to New Reality Awakening, the show where we go straight to the source. My name is Will, and each episode, I sit down with the creators behind New Reality TV to cut through the noise and get clear on three things: what they're putting into the world, why it actually matters right now, and how it connects to the bigger shifts happening in human consciousness. These are focused, no-fluff conversations, not origin myths, not guru speak, just real people doing meaningful work and the ideas behind it. So if you're curious about where consciousness, culture, and personality, responsibility intersect, you are in the right place. Today we have the pleasure of speaking to the one and only, the creator of World Awakenings, Karl Gruber. Karl, thank you so much for being on New Reality TV.
Hey, Will, always a pleasure anytime I get a chance to talk to you. And it's a good thing you don't want guru speak, because you came to the wrong person if that's what you want, man.
Well, your show is similar to ours, where you actually bring on the gurus, right? You have the experts come and talk to you about all manner of kinds of things. But let's just dial in the topic real fast. First and foremost, tell us about World Awakenings, then we'll launch from there.
Well, you know, it's just part of my personal journey, because for many, many years, I became what I call a positive possibility power thinker. You know, I grew up in a home with no church or religion or anything. And then, you know, I had a blank slate, and I just wanted to know. I gravitated to all of that. You know, I started with Dr. Norman Vincent Peale's The Positive Power of Positive Thinking, went to the Tony Robbins and Napoleon Hills of the world, et cetera, and of course, Dr. Wayne Dyer, and et cetera, and just blossom. And then in 2012, I continued my journey of expanding and exploring things beyond the 3D world. I became a certified law of attraction life coach in 2012. And then the background of me being a radio disc jockey for 20 years in commercial and public radio, once I got out of radio, I just started this podcast. And it's so funny because it just came to me. Why don't you do a show? And, you know how these things work, inspired creative ideas. Hey, how about World Awakenings, a fast track to enlightenment? And with the people I had gotten to know through law of attraction and that type of thing, I just started. My first guest was in Norway, and then I had somebody from Australia, and I'm just sitting there. This technology is just phenomenal. I could be at home with my microphone, a world-class sound and video, and talk to people from around the world. And and like your show, I've had some of the greatest masters and teachers and authors and ascended masters being channeled through people on the show, and incredible conversations, which of course are all available on New Reality TV.
Right. Well, thanks for the plug. I appreciate that. But I want to back up a little bit, because I'm fascinated by the term law of attraction coach. Does that mean that you teach people to follow the tenets of the law of attraction?
That's so funny that you say teach. A coach. People come to me. And a lot of people, we live in a world of victimhood, and they went, I want you to change me. And I go, no, that you have the power within you to change yourself. So I'm there just to guide them through the principles and understanding of how the law of attraction works, and then spiritual principles. I'm a huge student of the modern non-dualistic spiritual guide, A Course in Miracles. And so I've combined those things, the law of attraction, and I give my clients, or even just casual conversations with people, the principles of how they can take the power that they were born with, but have forgotten. We're all divine higher beings and souls, and use it themselves to create the life they want, or attract the things into their life they want. And of course, one of the biggest things that you help somebody understand, law of attraction works both ways. That which you think and dwell upon consistently will be sent to you eventually, be it good or bad. So, I try to, why don't you put your thoughts and energy where on the things you really want, the good, positive, loving things.
Right. So you don't give a pill to someone or a button that they can press and magically change their lives. It takes some work, right? There's some work.
What's that like that TV commercial, the easy button?
The easy button. That's right.
Yeah. Happening.
I'm asking pretty selfishly because I'm looking for that easy button, Karl. I was really hoping that you'd be able to help me out here.
Well, let's see. I think I got one sitting over there.
I've got a no button. No. So then, as a law of attraction guide, I guess is a better way of saying it in my mind, what kind of things can someone do to attract the things that they want? Because I got to tell you, I've been trying to attract a red Corvette my whole life, and it is nowhere to be found. So what am I doing wrong here?
Yeah, well, gee, let's see. Let's start a coaching session here. No, actually, the thing is, we in this world, and you well know this, and people watching and listening to this know this well. The whole world is based on negativity. Oh, get real. You have got those rose-colored glasses on you. And they think, that judgment and attack and this and war and all that. That's reality. Well, it doesn't have to be that way. If you point your thoughts and your energy, your personal energy, in a direction that's loving and kind and joyful and abundant, and you're going to start seeing, as A Course in Miracles says, there's no order of difficulty in miracles. The other thing is, too, we're each on our own journey in this lifetime, and, the things, I mean, we all know this, things that seem to be a disaster in the moment, maybe 5-10 years down the line, you look back, oh man, that was the best thing ever happened to me. I got fired from that job and I thought that was the end of the world. And now it led me on a career that I really want. Right. So, there is a truth to, all good things come to you in the right way at the right time when you're ready for it.
Right. So you're saying that I'm not ready for my Corvette.
Well, you just have to put a little more energy out to the universe on that red Corvette, with the price of gas out there, maybe you might want to give a little smart car right now.
That's a fair point. Yeah, red smart car. I've actually seen those on the road. They are really wild to see those things out there. Yeah, like little go-karts or something. But yeah. So, what do you think the biggest mistake that someone makes when they're trying to manifest something?
Well, and again, it's, I said, the right things will come to you in the right way when you're ready for it. And of course, it's trying to force the universe's hand, and first of all, it goes back to, we actually are a divine higher self connected to source, but we've forgotten that within the veil of this 3D world in a density in a bodily form. And so really everything is already available to you. But when you say, man, I want that Corvette, I want it now, and you're really pushing, you're actually putting out resistance into the universe, Well, no, that's not how it works. Well, and that you could use that example with a lot of people with getting sick. Anita Moorjani, who wrote the book Dying to Be Me, she actually writes this in her book. She actually passed away from cancer and had an amazing NDE where she was given an opportunity to come back, and all of her cancer disappeared because she understood. She was connected to source. And she looks back and she was so fearful. I'm afraid of cancer. I'm afraid of cancer. Oh my God, there's somebody with cancer. And of course, the universe said, well, all it heard was cancer. Here, you have cancer. Mm-hmm. So that's the biggest thing, trying too hard and basing your desire, your intention on fear makes it even worse.
Sure. Yeah. So easily said than done, though.
You know what? Like I said, we're each on a journey. I'm still learning every single day, though, and I know you are too.
Yeah, we all are. But then we have great tools like New Reality TV and World Awakenings, a fast track to enlightenment to help us with all this stuff. So let's get to World Awakenings. You have interviewed so many different people. Is there one or two that really sticks out in your mind as being something that moved you or taught you something that you had no idea about?
Well, I'll be honest, and I bet you feel the same thing with the guests on your show. I'll go into an appointment, getting ready to record a show, and I'm going, God, why did I book this person? I mean, I don't even know if they're sure. I have one kind of like that coming up in a couple days, and then by the end of the chat, I go, wow, that was a great conversation. Right. We have both had some channeled beings on, and we have human people as our guests, and they come on, and a being or force or power actually speaks through them. And actually, you and I have had the same guest on, and one of them that really stands out was Leanne Rose with the Galila Collective, because it's so dramatic. She when the Galila Collective comes through, her whole demeanor and everything changes, but actually one of the most amazing I had was Christina Hill, who channels Athela from Sirius B, a 12th dimensional ascended master. And what Athela, and it was been on my show twice, has spoken to me about is just blows me away in the way Athela speaks through Christina Hill. But, even that, Brendan D. Murphy, one of my very first guests ever, he's originally from Sydney, Australia, wrote this gargantuan treatise about 12 years ago called The Grand Illusion, Volume 1, that is a mix of spirituality and all backed up by incredible scientific research. It's like 600 pages long. And I had Brendan on my show via Skype, which doesn't even exist anymore, from Sydney. And now he lives in Mexico with his wife and youngster. And just amazing to talk to somebody that intelligent with that vast array of knowledge. And finally, one more. Gosh, this must have been almost 3 years ago. I had Dr. Irvin Laszlo on, who was twice nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, and he's now like 96 or something. And he's still super active in the world of new reality, and he lives in Italy, and I had his assistant set it up for me, and I was able to talk to this brilliant man. He started out as a concert pianist and then developed into this amazing scientist. What a blessing to be able to come one-on-one with some of the greatest minds and masters what we do,
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And you speak about Leanne Rose. She's actually one of our content partners. She's on New Reality TV with Consciousness First. I remember when she first came on our show, it was shocking. Because you're right, the transformation is so drastic that we didn't know what to expect. All of a sudden, this beautiful young British girl turns into an old Indian lady with the weird tics. It was the weirdest, most interesting thing. But yeah, we love Leanne, absolutely. The others I don't know, so I'm really excited to get to know them through your show. I do know that someone just reached out to us to be on our show who channels a dragon.
Oh, so
that's very interesting to me. So I might have to look and see what that's all about. But
well, I'll tell you what, I just posted my 247th episode. I've been doing this since 2018, and it's a labor of love. I mean, I'm the producer and the editor, and I sit here for a few hours putting a show together, and it's just like I'm in the flow. We've talked about being in the flow, and and I just, when I'm done, I just kind of look, oh, I thought it was 1 o'clock. Why is it 6 o'clock? So it's a labor of love, Yeah,
no question about it. So your show is mostly interviews, right? It's never you actually coaching, or have you ever thought about doing that, where you're actually talking to the audience yourself?
Yeah, it's just kind of been in the wheelhouse. I think it goes back from when I was in radio, as a disc jockey. You know, you're a TV guy. I'm in radio, and I always said I had a face for radio. And I
And here you are on TV now.
Yes, I am. I had the opportunity to interview some amazing singers and musicians, and it really honed my chops on that. You know, I get constant compliments from my guests on the way I interview them because, as you well know, and that's not you, but there are those hosts of shows, they want to jump in and interrupt the guests and be argumentative. And I go, no, my viewers and my listeners didn't come here to see me. They came here to see my featured guest and hear what they have to say. So I allow them to speak out, and then I interject something that will keep the conversation going and help us to learn more.
Right. Well, you have been a member of New Reality before it was even New Reality. You were one of the OGs. You came with us very, very early on when we were just a podcast network. It was a tiny little thing. When you joined New Reality TV, saying that you have a face for radio, which I don't agree with, by the way, but just putting it out there, then you said yes to a television network that's grown more than just television shows. It's films, it's meditations, it's shorts, but it's also seminars and healing sessions and all that kind of stuff. And we'll talk about your healing session that you manage here in a second. But why is, in your estimation, why is New Reality TV so important for the world right now?
Well, I would believe that the answer to that is very obvious. I mean, look at the world. The world is just so far out of control, and in many spiritual teachings throughout the millennium say the world is insane, and all you have to do is turn on the daily news. So what we're doing on New Reality TV, your show and my show and Leanne's and whoever else is on, it's so needed. We have got to be there for the world to wake up. I mean, my show is called World Awakenings, and it's aptly named because, and I've had many guests said that the humanity is on the cusp of an activation and an ascension.
Right.
And so, and we're seeing more and more and more evidence. And what we're doing is essential to the awakening of humanity to get out of this cycle of war and attack and judgment and hate.
Couldn't agree more. So then let's shift gears to the Power of Hate Healing Group, because you are the moderator. What's your role in that?
Wow, that's so cool that you brought that up. Thank you. That is another big labor of love on mine. So one of my favorite authors is Lynn McTaggart, an American living in England. She is a phenomenal journalist, researcher, scientist who wrote the book The Field and The Intention Experiment. And then she came out with a book, I believe in 2019, 2020, called The Power of Eight. And so what the Power of Eight is, 8 or more people, when they come together either live or virtually and focus their healing intentions, thoughts, prayers, and energies on a person, place, or thing. She's done thousands of these in empirical gold scientific research and seen miraculous healings.
Wow.
You know, and not just for people, but in situations and things like that. And so it really inspired me, and I same thing as just kind of the way my show started, said, hey, Karl, why don't you start a Power of Eight Facebook group, you know? And so I'm the administrator. Now there's 3 of us who are the main administrators. We facilitate a weekly healing session. I have somebody, Bo Glark, Toth Bagosi in Birmingham, England, and my friend Butch Walsmith, who also lives in the same town I live in Ohio. We do this. We have 2,200 people from around the world, from Nepal and Kenya and Sweden and Netherlands and Ireland and South Africa. And we come together, and sometimes we don't always have 8, but I tell people, don't diminish the power of us, maybe 3 or 4 of us coming together. What does the Bible say? When 2 or more of you gather together, there's great power there.
In my name, yep, sure.
Yeah, and so we do these weekly, and it's just phenomenal. As the administrator, I have people from around the world. I look and see, oh, somebody from South Africa asked to join today, or somebody from Italy, and so I approve them, and we post that. But there's great power in it, and I get healing requests, and we'll focus on the person. And I mean, an example, just real quick. I'm sure we're running out of time here.
That's okay. Yeah, this is fascinating stuff.
A few years ago, I had a lady in South Africa say, Shell oil is coming into the Transkei, which is beautiful, pristine waters off the south coast of South Africa, where whales and dolphins live, and it's pure, beautiful water and incredible ocean environment. Well, Shell Oil wanted to come in and do sonic blasting thousands of feet down to discover, and what they would do is discover where oil deposits were in the bottom of the ocean. Well, that sonic blasting has been shown to disrupt the animals in the water, I mean, like whales and dolphins use sonar and that type of thing.
Right.
And so she asked, could we do a healing to get Shell Oil out of here and not happen? So I organized one, and we had a few people from around the world, and it happens also, we didn't do it on the same video, but another Power of Eight group from South Africa simultaneously did it. 2 weeks later, the state Supreme Court in South Africa banned Shell Oil and ordered them out of the Transkei, and they've never done it again. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So that's a miraculous healing.
Yeah.
It really was.
And you attribute it to that Power of Eight healing group.
Oh, well, I definitely do. I think we were a big factor.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. Well, first, thank you for that, because we need a lot more of that. But second, I've got a hangnail that I need some help with. I don't know if maybe you guys can. Okay.
Well, it seems to me we might have done a healing for a lady that hangs out with you named Karen.
Yeah, you did do one for Karen, who is the co-host of the show, and also happens to be me and my wife, who had some challenges that she was dealing with, and she really very much appreciated it. So, Karl, if someone wanted to reach out to you, obviously you can find your show on New Reality TV, but if someone wanted to reach out to you to either join the Power of Eight healing group or learn more about the law of attraction or A Course in Miracles, what's the best way for someone to do that?
Well, at the moment, I really don't have a website for my coaching. I'm just kind of in a intermittent thing on that. But I do have a Facebook page just for Karl Gruber Life Coach, Gruber, and they can contact me there. I'm open to people emailing me at kwgruber@yahoo.com. They can do that. I'd be happy to facilitate a healing on Power of Eight, or if they feel they'd be a good guest on my show, I'm here, or if they need some coaching.
Sounds great. And good to see that there are still a few of us outliers here that are hanging on, the Yahoos and the Hotmails and the emails out there. So, Karl, it's been wonderful talking to you. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, and thank you for all that you do.
And you too, Will. You and Karen, what you guys have done. I mean, I'm so blessed to have you. Consider you my colleagues. You've been a guest on my show, and I've been a guest on your show. And like I said, really, let's keep doing it, because, good Lord, the world needs us more than ever.
100%. And that is the kind of work that we like to spotlight here. Yep. Not because it has all the answers, but because it asks better questions and invites real engagement. Now, if this conversation sparks something for you, you can explore more of Karl's work on New Reality TV. And if you're someone who's curious about consciousness, growth, and where personal responsibility actually meets spiritual exploration, this is what we do here. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time on New Reality Awakenings.